welcome back to Farming Simulator, and today we're going to have a look at guidance steering. Now, this is not a new mod, obviously, and there are plenty of tutorials out there already. This is following on from a video I did, I think it was a week or so ago, where I went through the different options that are available for GPS. And there were a couple of comments on that video asking for tutorials on each of the different options. So that's what I'm doing here. If I remember, I will put a card in the corner for that video if you have not seen it and you are not aware that there are more options for GPS than just guidance steering. So guidance steering is, I think, probably the original GPS mod. It certainly was for me. It was the first GPS type mod that I downloaded when I started playing FS19. I have since moved over to using VCA a lot more, and I'll talk about why I've done that at the end of this video. So I'm going to try and cover at least 90 to 95% of the features of guidance steering. There are a couple of bits that I have found are a little bit unreliable for me, so I will show you them. They may or may not work this time when I am recording. So yeah, let's get stuck in. So the first thing with guidance steering is that if we go into the store, you will see that if it's a big tractor, it doesn't really matter, does it? We have to buy the GPS option, which is £15,000 or euros. And you can add that to tractors, you can add it to harvesters. So there are some vehicles you can't add it to. So you can't add it to a self-propelled feed mixer, for example. You typically can't add it to cars and trucks, so because it's meant for field work. So yep, so that's that. And then once you've added it, you'll see in the bottom kind of, once you've added it, you'll see above the gear shifting icon on the right hand side, we've got 3 new additional icons. So the middle icon tells you that you have switch guidance steering on. So there we go, you can see that. That's done with Alt and C. The one above it is your row number. So because I've been doing a bit of messing around, I'm on row -9 at the moment. We'll talk about how that works when I'm actually using it. And then the last one at the bottom is when you have guidance steering active, that will light up blue. So let's switch guidance steering on. So that's Alt and C again. Before we start using guidance steering, I'll take you through the menu system first. So that is Control and S to open up the menu. When you open it, you'll start on this page. So we'll go through this page first. This has a bunch of the options that you'll be wanting to set. So the first one I would ignore personally. This allows you to activate guidance steering on the tractor from within the menu. I have never done this personally. I don't think you will either, so I wouldn't worry about that one too much. Next one is snap terrain angle, and I'll demonstrate this for you in a bit. But what this does is, if you're creating your AB line, it will help line it up with the terrain or the field edges better. So give you a little demo of that in a minute. Offset reversal is for things like offset plows. I will show you that in a bit. It's one that I've seen people talk about in tutorials and kind of brush over as you use that with plows, and actually I think you use it in a way that you might not expect with plow. So we'll talk about that in a bit. Headland mode. So the idea of this mode is that you can tell guidance steering a distance from the end of the field that you want the tractor to stop if you put this mode on, and it will disable cruise control basically. Kind of handy. This is one of the modes that I'm finding is a little bit picky as to whether it wants to work or not. So next we've got lines, and I quite like having lines on. You can see a course that I've got loaded up there. And that's what you'll see if you don't have a course. So you'll just see a line out in front of the tractor or behind the tractor. Line offset is the height above the ground, as it says there. So if you are in, say, a tool field of corn, you're spraying corn or something like that, you might want to move the lines up. You can have them between 0.5 and 2.5 meters above the ground. So, and then the last one here is whether you want to put the line as dots or a solid line. So we'll go back to a solid line. On the right hand side, we've got all of our implement information. So the width, you generally can just hit auto width, or there's a keyboard shortcut for that, which I will show you and I'm going to talk about in a bit. If you want to manually adjust it, you can. So you just use the plus or minus keys, and if you want to go faster, you just make the increment bigger or smaller. You cannot manually type in the working width with guidance steering. It's one of the things I don't like about guidance steering. So, and then down here we've got our offset as well, so I'll show you an offset plow in a bit. Moving to the next menu, so line strategy, we only have A, B straight available. I think this has been put in as a development opportunity for the future, so they don't have to rework the HUD. But we do have 3 methods for placing or setting our line. So we've got A plus B. I think this is the one that a lot of people like using. So you drop a marker, you drive at least 15 meters, you drop the next one, guidance steering gives you a line. The one that I prefer is A plus a heading, and what that is you sit where you want your A point, and you tell guidance steering the heading that you want it to put the course on. And then a new addition is A plus direction, and that will do it off of where your vehicle is and the direction it is pointing. So we'll go back to A plus B for now. I never use these options to set them in the menu. We'll do those all from in the tractor on the keyboard. The last option is saving courses and loading courses, and I'll talk about that once we've got some courses loaded up. So we're in our tractor. I have got a cultivator on the back. It's a nice easy implement to start using guidance steering with. We've got lines turned on. So, and I've got, I believe, I'm just going to double check that I have snap to terrain angle on. And what I'm actually going to do is line up on the, not quite the edge of the field, because I want to demonstrate this, the terrain angle snapping actually helping you. So we're going to hit Alt and E twice to drop our A point, so you can see that under the tractor. That's our first point, and then I'm going to drive forwards a little way, but I'm not going to drive along the edge of the field. I'm going to go slightly off the edge of the field, and then if we hit Alt E, and again we can see we've dropped our course, but it actually lines up with the field. But the problem is that it's not actually aligned to the edge of the field for the implement. So we're going to have a talk about some of the keyboard shortcuts that you can use. So, saying so an awful lot. We have 2 options. You can manually shift the track left and right, and that is Alt and page up and page down. So you can manually align it to the edge of the field. The other option you've got is you can snap the course to where the tractor is sitting, and that uses Alt and the home key, and then there we go. It's actually not quite aligned to the field. I wasn't quite in the right place. This is where I would use the keys and just do a little bit of Alt page up, page down. We can then hit Alt and X, so you can see the line has gone green, the steering wheel icon has gone blue. If we now lower the cultivator and accelerate, we will go in a nice straight line. If you want to turn guidance off, you can just steer a little way. You can see the line goes white, and if we hit Alt and X again, the line goes green again. So that's kind of the very basics of how you do things. So you can see now the topmost icon of the guidance steering icons, we are on track 0. And as we turn, that will change. I want to try and demonstrate now the headland mode. So I'm going to set a distance of 12. I'm going to turn it on. So by turning it on, I'm setting it to stop. So the strategy is for it to stop, and we will see if it works. I found that this is a little bit variable as to whether it wants to work or not. So we'll see. So you get a couple of beeps as you get close, and there we go, the tractor has stopped. So this is really good if you want to either not have to pay attention too much. Guidance steering and all the other GPS mods are very good for that. Or if you want to get nice even headlands for when you're coming back to finish the field up. So we've moved across a row. Our row or track counter is now on +1. This is probably a good point to talk about a couple of other mods that work really well with guidance steering. So the first one is headland management. That will automatically pick up the implement, slow you down, help you do the turn. And the other one then is proceed. I have tutorials for both of these on the channel already, and proceed makes use of the row number to automatically turn on or off the tram lines. So there's actually the automatic mode in proceed relies on the input from guidance steering. So there we go, that's some of the basics. What we'll do now is I am going to demonstrate the other modes of setting up a track. If we come over here, go into the menu again, and we're going to go to A plus a heading. We'll hit Alt E, that clears the course away. Second Alt E brings up the menu for the angle we want, and we will go 350 degrees. And this is where you're seeing the effect of align snap to terrain, because it's thought that we want to actually run along the edge of the field, so it has aligned us to the field. So we'll put snap terrain to off, and then if we do the course and we do 350, there we go. So snap terrain there was trying to help us by aligning us to the field and the terrain rather than the course that we wanted. And then the other option that we have is A plus a direction. So we'll just do Alt E to clear the course again, and I'll point the tractor somewhere random. We'll hit Alt E, and there we go, we have our course set. So quite handy if you want to set a very quick course. Into me, I'm going to change it back to A plus a heading, but we're going to save this course. So we're going to do direction course, and then hit this plus button, and that will save the course for us. If you want to edit the course, edit the name of the course, you can click on the edit button. If you want to delete it, you can click on the delete button. There is one more button in this menu that we'll quickly have a look at, and that's this one. And what this does is it rotates the course by 90 degrees. So every time you hit it, it rotates the course by 90 degrees. You can also do that with the Alt plus End key. You can do that manually. Really nice if you're trying to plow in a new square field, something like that. It will really help with that. I'll come back to reloading the courses, because I found that it's better if you have a little break. Obviously you wouldn't save a course and then it's try and reload it in the same tractor, so it's not a particularly realistic use case. So we will jump over to JCB, which has an offset plow, and I am particularly going to use this to demonstrate offset plows. So we're going to very quickly set a course. There we go. And then I will hit Alt and R to do an auto width. Really important point about Alt R to auto width. If you use an NVIDIA graphics card and you have the GeForce Experience software installed and the game overlay, the Alt R key, which brings up the NVIDIA performance overlay, will stop the Alt R auto width working. You can either do what I've done for this video and disable that feature, or you could remap the key in FS. So that is something to be aware of. So what you'll see now is we have the green line, the two blue lines, and the red line. So the green line is still the center line of the implement. The two blue lines are the width of the implement, and the red line is the line we're going to drive along. And if I load up the menu, you will see that we now have an offset down here. If the offset is not on the right side for where you want to be, then you can go into the menu and you can hit invert offset, and it will switch it to the other side. So at the moment, I'm going to start with offset reversal off. That is the default when you load in. Mine is different because I have been playing around with testing stuff. So we'll start off with offset reversal off. Drop the plow down and we'll do a little bit of plowing. I'm not going to do huge amounts because plowing is quite slow. And then we will lift the plow up, turn around, and this is a plow that you rotate. So we're going to rotate the plow. And then get back on my line and you will see that the offset has switched sides so that the plow lines up. So what that means is when you have offset reversal off, that is when you have an implement that you rotate, so that is offset and you rotate. If you had a fixed plow, then you would want to go in and turn offset reversal on. So we now have offset reversal on. We lower the plow, we drive a little bit, lift the plow up, turn around, and you'll see that the offset now is set up for us to be staying here, and that's how that works. So some plows you can rotate, some you can't. If you've got a plow that you can rotate and you are rotating, you want reversal off. If you have a plow that's fixed or you don't want to rotate it, you want offset reversal on. So if we jump back in the Deutz now, we will see if I can demonstrate loading courses. So I've saved a few more courses and we'll double click on one, and I am not sure if that was the course that we loaded, so we'll just, there we go. So this course is one that I set at 35 degrees, which is what that is. And then if we go in here, pick this one, there we go, we have that course going over that way. So that is how you load the courses. It is just a double click on the course name in the menu. I have found that if you're trying to save courses and then quickly load them, it doesn't always work. So I'm not sure why that is. That could be a problem between the mouse and the chair, not sure, but that feature is there, and that is a feature that's unique to guidance steering of the 3 GPS mods. So it is the only one that you can save tracks on, and that's really useful if you're doing multiplayer. And this is where I use guidance steering, is if I'm doing multiplayer where we're working cooperatively and we need to share GPS tracks, then it's really useful. So one last point to have a look at, and that is another set of offset tools, but offset mowers. And if I go into the menu going to change to A+ heading. It is my much preferred way of doing it, and we'll actually set it that way. So there we go. There's our course. Hit Alt and R to try and set a width. It's not actually showing very well on that grass. This would be a good opportunity actually to maybe do that. There we go. So we've got our lines. This don't show particularly well. I'm actually going to bring the tractor back onto the stubble. And if I do Alt and X now, it thinks there's a headland there. So the tractor's struggling, and that's because the right end, actually the offset's wrong as well. So if we go in and we invert the offset, so we'll start with that. But the very left hand blue line is under the pink line, and it's raining. Oh well, now it's not raining. And that the problem is that it doesn't seem to pick up the working width of the front mower. So just to show you, I'm going to hit Alt-R again and do auto width, and it's still not picking it up, and it's got the offset to the wrong side still. So we're going to invert the offset again, and I'm going to use Alt, and you can use Alt equals and Alt minus to increase or decrease the track width. Going to make the increment bigger. There we go. So Alt equals there is increasing the track width, and you can see now that we have our separate lines, and our pink line has become red because it's not red and blue together. So if I now get on track, we will see that things are much better behaved, but our track is too wide now. So we'll narrow it down a little bit. That looks kind of like the right width. That looks kind of like the right width, but the offset is incorrect. So we need slightly less offset, I think. If I do Alt X now, that doesn't look too bad. Let's push into the grass now, and we will do a we'll lower the mowers down, and we'll see. So actually we're still too wide on the track by quite a way, so let's go down a little bit more and a little bit more, and then we want to increase the offset now. I think actually we want to decrease the offset. And some more. And some more probably. Almost doesn't look like that's having an effect. Let's do. There we go. That's too much. No. So if I now do Alt and X, that looks sort of okay. The point I'm trying to make is that some offset tools are a bit of a faff to get to work. And this is one of the reasons that I switched to using VCA for my preferred GPS. Guidance steering is very good for most things. It seems to struggle with tools like this sometimes. But if you're happy to manually set those things up, you're all good, and you could save them on your grass field. You could save the tracks and you'd be fine. But for me, I find that VCA GPS will do this on a single button press. So I will, in the next few videos, so guidance steering is done. I want to go through VCA and enhanced vehicle as well. Both of those have a lot more features beyond GPS, and so I'll probably do 2 videos on each of those. I'll do one focused on the GPS element and one focused on the other features. So probably going to run this as kind of a little mini series. Thank you, Cartech, for the idea. And it'll be, I guess, probably about 5 videos over the next few weeks. And I say thank you to patrons and the YouTube channel members at this point. Appreciate you all supporting the channel. And if you've enjoyed this video, click the like button maybe. Any comments, questions, or suggestions, stick them below. And I will see you next time.